Oh wait, now we gotta do our bit again. Alright.
Yeah. Well, as said from a critically acclaimed critic on IMDb, Shaft, the funniest movie to come out of Hollywood since 21 Jump Street.
I mean, of course, other than 22 Jump
I
Street.
think 21 Jump Street. I think he thinks Shaft is funnier than 22 Jump Street.
But it's 22 Jump Street. Is that good?
Yes, that was good.
Shaft! Now, to clarify, we are talking about the 2019 Shaft. We're not talking about the 1971 Shaft.
Nope.
Or the 2000 Shaft.
No, we're not.
We're talking about the other Shaft, also named Shaft.
It's a very original and creative title.
Alright, so director's Tim Story. He's directed some classics like the Fantastic Four. Not Fan Four Stick, actually. So he's not that bad, but original Fantastic Four. And Ride Along and Ride Along 2.
Unfortunately, this might be his masterpiece film.
And based on those, yeah. So if we're talking cast now, it stars Samuel Jackson as John Shaft. Jesse T. Usher as John Shaft. And Richard Roundtree as John Shaft. Shaft! They're all Shafts. It's the legacy trilogy we've been waiting for. Shaft, Shaft, and Shaft.
To preface, this movie is as average as you're gonna see. It has comedy that works, it has comedy that doesn't work, it has action scenes that are like subpar, it has a convoluted plot that's hard to follow, and, well, it has characters you don't really care about, it's like better than a Hallmark movie. That's about it.
You know exactly what you're getting when you watch a trailer. The plot's like
Alright,
every other
epic
movie.
Hollywood summary
Every
reading.
other movie. John Shaft Jr., a cybersecurity expert with a degree from MIT, enlists his family's help to uncover the truth behind his best friend's untimely death.
Yeah, let's just start right here. I'm gonna tear this movie apart. Yeah.
Well, the thing about this movie is, like, it was the whole plot.
Let me start first.
Oh.
I was about to start here. I had a whole thing.
Okay.
I'm stepping on my line.
Okay.
That'd be fun to edit. We need to first start with the story. This is a murder mystery.
I just read it.
It's about this main character trying to see who killed his friend, because they said his friend overdosed, but he thinks someone murdered him. So the friend has on-screen time in the beginning of the movie for about 3 minutes, and they expect us to care about his death. Like, he died, and I was like, okay. I don't even care.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the friendship, okay? I didn't feel the friendship at all. They had terrible chemistry.
Well, I mean, I feel like the one dude's lines were terrible. It was like, hey, man, just wanted to tell you. Love you. You're my best friend. Thanks, man. You too. And then he goes off to die. And they establish the friendship through a montage. So that's always a great way to start that.
Always.
Honestly, this movie's just average. It's just fine. And there's just little things wrong with it every now and then. The dialogue's really boring and typical and sometimes doesn't even make sense. Like, they say stuff like, I never did this to stop drugs. It was to take away the one thing you loved, your son.
Because I'm going to kill you. Unless you forgive me for murdering your wife.
The biggest issue with this movie is that it's created from a blaxploitation film from the 70s. And I was saying this to you, it doesn't work now. Because all the values then were like these misogynistic, sexist, sometimes racist values to demonstrate power for African American filmmaking. And when you bring that into the year 2019, it doesn't work. And they had a whole weird thing where the junior, the son, would be like more PC, and then Samuel Jackson was like, I just want some pussy.
You picked up a bat. You can't beat up a woman. Why not? Because she's a woman. That's like misogynistic.
You the one being misogynistic. I ain't mentioned her gender.
Okay.
I'm an equal opportunity ass whooper.
That's probably why it's kind of a problematic movie to put out. It's not like I got upset or anything, but it's why it's not going to do well, and nobody really cares about this movie.
The main character, Junior, I hated him the whole time. He wasn't a very he was overly PC for no reason. He were being the stereotype. Oh, I'm a millennial. And I'm very PC. So many things in this movie happened and I just wasn't believing it. Like in the very beginning, Junior's on a bike looking at pictures on his phone of like his friend who OD'd, the pictures at the crime scene, right? He's on a bike and all of a sudden this like 6-year-old kid comes out and he's like, yo, are you lost or something? And then he like glances at his phone real quick and sees a picture and he's like, oh, that's that dude, and he OD'd because he got this heroin from this guy. Like, this little kid knows everything just from looking at this little picture, and it's like all up in his business. And I was like, that's so coincidental. It's so stupid. And it just didn't work. The movie wasn't that funny.
Yeah. There was, like, rare circumstances.
The characters were like, eh.
I feel like we're striking mostly negatives here, but in terms of, like, positives, it was, for the most part, what it most likely set out to be. It was just kind of a fun, throwaway action flick starring Samuel Jackson, where he says some Samuel Jackson stuff. And you have some decent action scenes. They're not terrible. And you have a little fun in the movie, and you forget about it after you watch it. But that's all it really seems that it set out to be. It didn't set out to be anything more, so I can't criticize it for not achieving anything more. But it was just kind of that, and it had a few flaws that we can nitpick at every now and then. But
no, they were big flaws, man. They were big flaws. They were like, oh, what do we like? After they left Benny, they're like, oh, what do we do now? Well, Junior says, you didn't see this, but I planted a camera on her desk. And I'm like, what the?
It was a micro camera, Drew. What don't you understand?
Yeah, but like,
us millennials have access to micro cameras.
This is guy he's been working at an FBI for a month.
Drew, let me explain this to you. You don't seem to understand. Junior is the millennial hacker. And the older shafts are the big boy.
But it doesn't work like that, okay? That's it. Drew is officially mad. Dude, shut up! They were in a shootout, and he's like, "All right, sure. What the fuck?" These people during that same day, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go out clubbing," and then he runs into his ex-wife. What the kind of coincidence is that?
You okay, Drew?
Only Hollywood. No, I'm pissed. There's so much wrong about this movie. I'm gonna give this movie a 1.
It is not a 1. But my thing is, I think you're not seeing, like, I wasn't upset at it for most of these things. It was just the more absurd ones when it handled it well. Because in the case of most of these coincidences, I think you gotta know its background. It's based off a blaxploitation film. These things were pure, cheesy, over-the-top films. And that's what it's based off. So it's applying to its audience when it does that. Obviously, it's unrealistic. The entire movie's unrealistic. But I can only criticize it, really, when it goes above and beyond in doing that. Like the scenes where they're like, oh, I was trying to kill the one thing you really cared about. That stuff, I'm like, oh my god. But in the other ones, it's like, this is the audience they think they're applying to, but the issue with the movie is that audience doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue with the movie. So I completely get why you're enraged, but I can't, like... I don't think that's something to completely take away from the movie, because that just... Without that, the movie... We should just say the movie... Which it shouldn't. The movie just shouldn't exist. But, I don't know. I think, overall, it's perfectly adequate. If you're not overly uptight about politically correctness in films, you won't be too upset by this. It's fine to watch on an airplane, but other than that, I don't recommend spending your money on it. Talking about it, I'm gonna be a bit more harsh. Do you want to just say the grades? I'm gonna say a 4.
I'm giving it also a 4.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Realistically, this movie shouldn't be made. It's not necessary. and there's not a lot of monetary gain from it, and that's the only logic to making it. And there's not a lot of money behind it because that audience doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Do you want to add anything else?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure you're okay, Drew?
I'm just very mad.
You broke.
I'm just very mad.
We'll get you a Coke for the next review, okay?
I don't want a Coke.
Yes, you do. You need it. You're not you when you don't have a Coke.
Alright, let's go to the next one.
Let's do the next one.